All right, it looks like unfortunately I was muted, so we're gonna back up and start again. Okay, thank you for joining me today. We're gonna be going over QuickBooks account. Okay. Hi, my name is Liz with Big Hairy Dog, and today we're going to be going over accounts receivable with Account Link. And today we're going to be focusing, the financial software we're going to be using is QuickBooks Financials. So we're going to walk through our system preferences, how to require an AR customer to be listed, how to turn on charges, how to take those payments on accounts, and ultimately all of that through Account Link and getting that into QuickBooks. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. I'm going to minimize this and we're going to jump into our Retail Pro. So this is our Retail Pro version 9 here. And so there's a few things that I need to make sure are set up. We're going to go to Options and System Preferences. Now here under our System Preferences, we're going to start under our Local. And first things first, we're going to go to our Customers. Um, Always double check what you are requiring for customers, whether or not they are AR, but especially for our AR customers, they will not be able to get around these required fields. Let's go on down into point of sale and general. Under our fees, we are setting up a POA fee type, payment on account. This is going to allow us to take those payments through Retail Pro's interface. Now, if I go ahead and come on down to or up a little bit back to options. This is also where we want to limit charge to AR customers only. Those are the only types of customers I want to be able to charge to their accounts. And of course, we will need to go ahead and go to our tenders and requirements. And I need to make sure that the charge tender is A, turned on, and B, that we are requiring at least our first and last name. That is part of my actual requirements for my customers. So any customer should automatically have that. All right, so let's go ahead and update for now. Now, part two, of course, our customers have to be listed as AR customers. So to do that, I'm going to go to the customer record, and I can also show this to you guys via the point of sale screen. I'm going to go to the customer record, And we want to make sure that export to or exported to AR is set to yes. Yes. All right, once set to yes, this customer is ready to start charging to their accounts. So we'd go ahead and open up a brand new sale. I have a few sales already done for this particular webinar, but we're going to make a few more. I'm going to add one, and I'm going to go ahead and say, actually, let's cancel out here. View. All right. I have Liz utilizing her charge of 149, and then we have a payment on account for 25. All right, so let's do another charge and one more payment on the account. So I'm going to go ahead and list my customer. This time we're going to pick a different person. I'm going to go ahead and pick Max here. Let's make sure Max is an AR customer, not an AR customer currently. So we're going to change that and save that for this record. And okay. Now there we go. Now Max is now on my receipt screen, and I can go ahead and sell Max an item. All right, so let's go ahead and select something. And we're going to tender. And now I'm going to charge this to his account. And we're going to update only. Oh, actually, excuse me, I hit my print and update, so I'm going to cancel out of that. And there we go. Now we're on the next screen. Now Max is going to do a payment on account. Normally these are done on separate days. I'm not actually going to complete this transaction since I do have a few other POAs going on over through the link anyways. But here to make a payment on account, we list the customer. That is the most important aspect here. And then we list their payment. So if they're doing a $20 payment to their account, then we are adding 20 to our fee area. And as soon as we try to hop off, it gives us that option to select the fee type. And I can go ahead and select POA. And there we go. This would be all we have to do. And then we just tender as appropriate. If they're going to pay in cash, no credit. If they're going to pay in cash, then I'm going to go ahead and add that cash. If they're going to do card, then there's that card in the top. All right, for now, we'll go ahead and cancel out of it. And so once set up, this is a really straightforward um, task. You charge the account when they come in and pay, use the POA. Now these marks right here, AR and GL, tell you whether or not these receipts have already been sent to QuickBooks. And as we can see, none of these have been sent just yet. All right, so I get to go ahead and send these out. Whenever you're ready to go ahead and read a batch, we're going to load our account link. Again, I'm going to go ahead and back up. This is what we're going to see in the very, very beginning. And then we can go to options. Excuse me, we're going to go to batches because we're ready to actually read everything. The only reason I wanted to come to options is because I wasn't quite sure if Max was already within my QuickBooks. We do need to initialize our customers and vendors periodically. So as a just in case, I'm going to do that as well. I'm going to initialize my customers and okay. Now, once customers have been initialized, we want to import those customers and get any of those changes into QuickBooks. So I'm going to take a quick side step here. I'm going to go to File, Utilities, Import Iif Files. So the account link creates file types called IIFs. And these files essentially just change all of those receipts, the customer vendor information into something that is readable for QuickBooks financials. All right, so we're going to go ahead and import those IIF files. And then yes, QuickBooks has to close all of its windows. Now this section here, this one's the one where people run into a little trouble. You'd think you want to hit that big blue import IIF files button, but actually we're going to go ahead and click down here, import it for me, I'll fix it later. All right, and we understand that is not recommended, but that is going to be the most appropriate for us to use. We're going to get this little warning that this method for importing files is not quite appropriate, but again, this is going to work the best with your account link. We're going to go ahead and import IIF, and here we go. So this is that same QB data folder that I had set up in my account link. And so if you're not seeing it, we can go ahead and move to a different field. But once you pull from that folder the first time, it will open that folder continuously. So here is that customer IIF. I'm going to highlight it and then hit open. Your data has been imported. Okay. And that is about it for initializing our customers. All right. So we can go ahead and come back to my company and come on home page. For now, we'll leave that guy there. All right. So like I said, let's go and read a batch. So I'm going to go into batches and receipts. And now I get to go ahead and read. So of course I can go ahead and read. I can see previously archived batches as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the read button. Now there are technically two types of two ways to read a batch. There is a marked and a preview. We have to be really careful with which one we have selected. A preview will never post to QuickBooks. It cannot. A preview is meant to be deleted. It is a preview only. So normally we always leave this at marked. You can always unmark and delete a marked batch, but we can't post a preview batch. All right, so your batch description will always go ahead and pull today's date. You can update that. We can create a single batch for each store. Now over here, the end date, start date and end date will default to today, and you can go ahead and change that to default to yesterday's date. For now, I'm going to go ahead and just hit OK. And there we go. So we've read our batch. So how do we know that this is a good batch? Well, first things first, we can double check to make sure that our batch credits and our batch debits all line up. Same thing with our doc debit and our doc credit. Another thing that we can do is cross-reference this to our X out. So our sales merchandise, of course, should match up to our net sales. If it's not quite, be sure to add those discounts. We did not use any discounts in our training today or the webinar today. I did not add any discounts. So this would match up appropriately to the penny. All right. And so we have some AR clearing, we got some cost of goods sold. We can double check pretty much any of these numbers, two numbers within Retail Pro, but the most important are going to be those bottom numbers and of course our merchandise sales. All right, and I can see here at least that one POA that I have, the $25, that guy is going to my AR clearing. Okay, now, if everything is looking good here, I'm ready to just post this batch. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to post. All right. Now, when you do post a batch, you can choose to post for your stores or for each store, for each company, and that's about it. We have the option for transaction, but it will make a mess of your accounting. So please take our word for it. You want to go ahead and run that by store or by company. All right, so we're going to do that by store today. And we're going to say, okay, batch posted successfully. Perfect. And that is about it for our account link. We get to read them, and so long as we don't have any issues, we're good to go. The second you see something doesn't quite match up, it's not matching up to our Z out, what can we do? Before we jump over to QuickBooks, let's take a look at some basic troubleshooting, and then let's also go ahead and remind you that you can give us a call. You can always call Big Hairy Dog, and we will go ahead and help you out. But let's go ahead and jump over to my sales and receipts. All right. So here for my sales and receipts, I can see that I have now check marks on most of these. So a high security receipt, just as a reminder, anything with a receipt number 0 is not a real receipt and will never be posted to QuickBooks, will never be posted via account link to any accounting software. All right. High security receipts are fake. They're boarded sales. Now, anything posted to AR is given that check mark in the AR column, and of course, anything posted to GL will be given that GL column check mark. These accounting marks are editable, all right? So you do want to be careful with who is signing in as sysadmin. If I come over here and uncheck these accounting marks, the next time I read a batch, if I add this date to that range, it will resend that bill or resend that invoice, excuse me. And of course, we can always use this as ways to mark off receipts that we do not want sent to QuickBooks Financials. All right, so let's go ahead and back up. Yeah, receipts modified, but we're going to discard those changes. All right, so always double check that you're seeing those accounting marks as appropriate. In the middle of reading your batch, you will only see the accounting mark on one half on the AR side. It will not give you the other half, the check to GL. When you update, you should see it on the other side. If you are reading a batch or have read a batch and you realize that receipts within that batch are not posting, give us a call. We'll dive in and we'll see what's going on with that particular receipt. All right. Now, let's go ahead and move on over to QuickBooks at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into QuickBooks, and we're going to do the exact same thing. File, Utilities, Import. So although the system does create the files for us, it does not do that final step. And this is going to be for QuickBooks Financials. Sage Mass 90 Business Works, they do have a direct connection option. And so when we post via account link, that is pretty much the end of it. It will get sent over to our financials. All right, so import IIF. QuickBooks must be closed, of course, and then import it for me. I'll do it later. Bypass the warning, and there is my receipt. Now, it is important to remember once we've updated this, we do have to go ahead and do a little bit of cleanup. Otherwise, this marked batch will stay here. We'll talk about what that means in just a moment, but I'm going to highlight on it. This is the one I was just working on. Perfect. And open. All right. So I had a credit limit for one of my people. And then, of course, with that transaction, we've exceeded that credit limit. Would you like to continue? Absolutely, yes. Same thing for Brian here. All right. And there we go. My data has been imported. Now I can come over here to my company, come back to my home screen. I really could have also grabbed it from my chart of accounts. There it is. Control A. I always forget where my chart of accounts or the shortcut to my chart of accounts, and you'd think I'd remember Control A. All right, now we have a little bit of a problem. We have some AR clearing and AP clearing that are still here. Normally our clearing accounts should be at 0. Now I happen to know exactly why these clearing accounts are not quite right. So I'm not too concerned about them, but we can always click into it and double check. And the reason why is just because I did not I created POAs on accounts that did not actually have charges. The system will allow you to do that. It is very important that we make sure that we get the correct customer because Retail Pro is not directly connected to account link. If I say Joe Smith is doing a payment on account, then Joe Smith is doing a payment on account, even though it's actually Joseph Smith that had the charge and wanted to pay to their account. All right. This is one of the easiest ways to go ahead and find these errors and issues. But again, hopefully at point of sale, we can really get into the habit of confirming the customer that is on the receipt. All right. And I am able to actually really open it and hop in. I can see exactly what receipt I'm referring to. All right, let's go ahead and close that out for right now. All right. And I do have some vendors as well that I have in my AP clearing. Again, excuse me, just for this purpose of the webinar, I had created a few examples that didn't quite have the starting point that we needed. So we totally understand why they are unbalanced at this point. But in your normal setup, we would charge to an account, and of course, they would only pay what they have charged to their account. So we would net out at 0. All right, let's go ahead and close that. But everything did get a chance to move over appropriately. If I go ahead and go to customers, I can see my various customers here, and I can see their invoices and their payments. Again, I have 149, and I can see here that she did a partial payment. All right, let's go ahead and back up here. And as long as they still owe me a balance, I am able to go ahead and run statement charges from QuickBooks Financials as well. All right. Now that one is a little bit outside the scope of our webinar for today, but our webinar is pretty narrow. We're just looking at our AR clearing. If we have any questions, I will be around. Let me go ahead and back this up just a little bit. Again, the most important part after account link is fully set up is to make sure that if we are open to charge accounts, that our customers have been listed as export to AR. Yes, we are limiting our charge to only customers or only our AR customers. B, and C, of course, new customers must be re um, initialized into QuickBooks Financials. And as a reminder, that reinitialization is very, very fast, very easy. We're going to back up and go to options, initialize customers, and there we go. Then we just import that just like any other IIF. Now, I had mentioned something about being able to organize and keep our old imported files clean. Otherwise, they just kind of hang out. So let's go ahead and take a look at what I mean by that. If I open up my File Explorer, and actually I'm going to start from the beginning. Hit the Windows key, open up File Explorer. All right, now I can go to my C drive. And like I said, I happen to know that this is set up on my C drive as QB data. So I'm going to scroll down to QB data. For most users, this is set up on the R drive under QB data. When in doubt, take a look at what drive your Retail Pro is set up under, and it's most likely going to be that QB data. All right, and so here is that customers IIF file. Customers and vendors will replace themselves. When we send a new initialization of customers, it replaces the old one in this folder. Receipts, though, will not do that because receipts are all for unique individual date ranges. And so if we open up this imported batches, you can see all of my previously imported batches. I got a few of them, both receipts and vouchers. And I am manually moving these on over. Again, not required, but it will help you keep things cleaner. We don't want to accidentally re-import a batch that we have already imported. Um, it will make another mess in accounting. And with that, I will remind you to double check your backups, both your Retail Pro backup and your QuickBooks Financials backup. If that ever accidentally happens, we'd be able to go ahead and restore to a recent backup. And again, I know it's slightly outside the scope of our webinar here, but it is so quick to be able to show you. So I will backup company. We want to go ahead and create a local backup and leave that at create local backup next. Essentially, we just tell it where you want it to back up, and that is about it. Now, this is something that can also be automated. Usually, QuickBooks does have to stay open for that. Just a heads up. All right. And so with that, we've gotten a chance to, let's open this up. Require AR, we've done our tender requirements, we've made an AAR sale, and we talked about taking a POA payment on account. We've imported that into QuickBooks, and that brings us to the end of our webinar. If there are any questions, I will be around in the meeting room. And if we have any late people to start, please know that we can go ahead and get this video over to you. It will be sent to everyone who was registered for the account link training, and it will be available on our previously recorded webinars soon. Let's go ahead and minimize this. And there we go. All right. And if you guys have anything else, like I said, I'll be around. Other than that, you are dismissed for the day. Thank you so much for joining me today on this brief webinar of how to go and set up AR for our customers and how that interacts with Account Link and ultimately flows into your financials while we're integrated with Account Link. Everyone have a great rest of your day. Bye.